La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah.
As we all know, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. According to statistics, most of the converts are women, especially in the Western world. Sister Emmy Hussein is one of those chosen by Allah towards this beautiful faith. So, living in America, Emmy grew up in a Christian family. However, her parents did not see any value in this religion, and so did not practice their faith. They just celebrated the festivals of Christmas and Easter. Growing up, her grandparents tried to teach Emmy and her siblings about Christianity. They took them to church regularly and baptized them, but Emmy only agreed to do it to keep them happy. She always questioned her faith, especially the concept of Trinity. It just did not make any sense to her. In short, she did not believe in the existence of God.
So as I was growing up, we didn't practice Christianity. We celebrated Christian holidays, Christmas and Easter and those things, but God was not in my life growing up. My grandparents, tried to teach us and tried to help us be Christian. And we participated with friends and everything in people's churches. So I grew up mostly Christian. But I never really felt very Christian.
During college, she spent her days without a sense of purpose and had nothing to guide her forward in life. This all changed when Emmy made a group of Muslim friends in college. She could not help but notice the high level of respect they had towards their parents and everyday life. The way of life was something new to her, and this is where her journey to Islam began. She then started learning about the beliefs and teachings of our religion. She remembers having a dream that God came to her and put his heart in her hands. This felt very important to her and impacted her a lot too.
Somewhere in college time, I actually had a very it felt very important dream that God came and put something in my hands, like his heart or something like that. And it impacted me quite a lot. And a Christian friend of mine said, I think that means that you're going to be Christian. And that dream was very important to me. But I still at that point didn't think it meant to be Christian. It was something else. And but at that time, without Allah in my life, without God in my life, I don't think I was on a very good path.
In her physics class, she had learned that chaos is inevitable, and the only way to prevent it is work. In other words, working hard keeps things in order. This particular law struck her because this was parallel to what she had been learning about Islam. A lot of aspects of Islam requires work and effort from our part in order to prevent problems. For example, Allah commands us to offer our daily prayers, fast during the holy month of Ramadan, avoiding haram, and to have good akhlaq. So now things started to make more sense to Emmy. She started to believe in Allah, but had not accepted Islam. One day, her friend introduced her to his cousin, Iqbal Hussein, a practicing Muslim. After a few meetings, they grew a fondness towards each other and then decided to get married. On their nikah, she was made to say her shahada by the imam. At that moment, she did not realize what she was exactly saying or what it meant, and so did not identify herself as a Muslim. During their marriage, Iqbal was conscious not to pressure or force her to accept Islam, as this is forbidden in our religion. He wanted Emmy to see how peaceful and beautiful this religion was for herself. Shortly after, Emmy realized that she wanted both herself and her husband to have a common ground and follow the same religion. She first requested Iqbal if he would follow Christianity. After his refusal, she decided to read and understand the Quran herself. The more she read and talked to other Muslims, the more she began accepting the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She then accepted Islam wholeheartedly and began submitting her will to Allah, the Almighty. She started taking small steps to change herself and obey His commands, such as dressing more modestly.
I started reading Quran and realizing more and more and more that this is right. This is everything about Islam that's taught to us in the Quran makes so much sense. There's nothing confusing about it. It's very obvious. Little by little, I started doing things in my life to be a good Muslim. The first thing I started doing, I just remembered, it seems so bad or silly, but I stopped wearing shorts. That was the very first thing. I have to dress more modestly. That's the first thing I did.
Emmy's faith grew stronger after a trip to Bangladesh, where Iqbal's family lived. It was her mother-in-law that helped strengthen her relationship with Allah. She taught Emmy a bit more about Islam and encouraged her to practice the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Emmy was especially inspired by her unconditional love, forgiveness, patience, and kindness towards her, some of the traits we should aim to acquire. We all have challenges in life, and Emmy had to face her own after accepting Islam. Although she had a lot of support from her friends, Iqbal, and his family, her parents and siblings did not agree with her conversion to Islam. However, over time they became more tolerant. She feels she has a long way to go in becoming a better Muslim and needs to develop more taqwa in Allah. She now tries to follow the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, by fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, and encourages all Muslims and even non-Muslims to do the same because it also helps to improve our character. Since accepting Islam, Emmy devotes her time in giving dawah and spreading awareness of Islam. She is an office manager at her local mosque and is working on establishing a school for small children. Her goal now is to become a better Muslim and continue doing good in this dunya with the intention of pleasing Allah. Emmy says there are so many good Muslims, but there is also so many of us that can be doing so much better. We need to focus more on education, especially for our daughters, sisters, and mothers. Education should not stop because if we are not educated, we cannot maintain a proper society. This is an area where Muslims should be the leaders in all societies in the whole world, but I feel we are not. Emmy prays that Muslims realize the importance of education not only in maths, history, and writing, but also in psychology of parenting, finances, and life skills. She says this way we will feel more whole ourselves, and we will then have the ability to give and help others. May Allah reward our sister Emmy's efforts in this world and hereafter. Ameen.